Hello again. Welcome. It is Thursday, and I hope you've been having a wonderful week so far. Today, we're going to read another book on some educational topics, but today this is about secrets, and this is the story of Sir Alfred and his terrible secret. So, some secrets should never be kept. So in general, some rules of thumb for reading books like this. There's like an author's note here in the front to try to guide you in being able to read a book like this or this particular book. Just understanding that sometimes it's hard for kids to express themselves and their feelings, and sometimes they need examples and being able to talk about what those feelings are and being able to describe them to you. Talking to them about what a private body part is, and in reading this you want to explain that this is a very special story. Show them the cover, ask what this boy's doing, what he might be feeling. Think about reading the story first all the way through, and then maybe later on, the next day or a couple days later, bring the book back and read it again, and this time take some time to stop, ask questions, make notes about the illustrations and how the character might be feeling and what's going on in the book. You continue the discussion and have your child name 3 to 5 adults that they could tell their secrets to, or if they're feeling unsafe, those people that they would go to if they were feeling unsafe and had a big secret. And you can revisit this story, if situations come up where you feel like it's important to bring this back again. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with Some Secrets Should Never Be Kept. In a land not so far away lived a brave little knight. Sir Alfred, for that was his name, lived in a teeny-weeny cottage with his mother, Lady Susan. Lady Susan had once lived a fabulous and glamorous life, but since her divorce from Sir Alfred's father, they were now quite poor. Lady Susan worked very hard day after day, cleaning the largest castle in the land. The castle was owned by the rich and famous Lord Henry Votnar. Because Alfred was only a little knight and couldn't stay home alone, he always went to Lord Henry's castle after school. While Lady Susan continued to clean and scrub, Lord Henry offered to take care of Alfred. Lord Henry and Alfred got along famously. They were like 2 peas in a pod. Lord Henry was friendly and funny, and together they played Catch Me If You Can in the castle gardens. When Lord Henry caught Alfred, he would tickle him all over, and then the game would begin again. But one day, while Alfred's mother was cleaning a far corner of the castle, Lord Henry started to tickle Alfred in a way that made him feel uncomfortable and sick inside. The tickling wasn't fun anymore, and sometimes Lord Henry tickled and touched Alfred's private parts. And even when Alfred asked Lord Henry to stop, he did not. Come on, Alfred, laughed Lord Henry. It's just a bit of fun. There's no harm in a bit of tickling. But, warned Lord Henry, you must never, ever tell anyone about our tickling game. It must be our special secret because, continued Lord Henry, if you do tell, I'm afraid your mother will not be able to clean my castle anymore, and you will have no money for food and clothes, and it will be all your fault, Alfred. Poor little Sir Alfred felt sick with worry. He knew some secrets should never, ever be kept. Secrets that made him feel bad and uncomfortable. Secrets just like this. But if he told anyone, his mother would lose her job and they would have no money. And the worst bit of all, it would be all his fault. That night, little Sir Alfred went home with a very heavy heart. He did not eat his supper, and he barely spoke a word to his mother. He crawled into his bed feeling sad and lonely, the secret heavy in his heart. The next morning, Alfred told his mother that he didn't want Lord Henry to look after him anymore. Lady Susan glanced at him briefly and just smiled. "Don't be silly, Billy. Alfred, everyone loves Lord Henry. He is one of the nicest and kindest men in the world. We are very lucky he takes care of you." But that afternoon, when Lord Henry came to the school gate, Alfred felt sick in his tummy. He felt scared and very confused. He didn't want his mother to lose her job, so once again, he let Lord Henry tickle him and touch his private parts. When Alfred arrived at home that evening, he felt so ill that he went straight to bed. As he lay in the dark of his room, he cried and cried. Great sobs lifted up and out of his heart. He felt so lonely and frightened. From her rocking chair in the kitchen, Lady Susan could hear Alfred sobbing. She stopped her knitting and went straight to her little son. "Whatever is the matter?" she asked. But Alfred did not utter a word. If he told his mother his terrible secret, she would lose her job and they would have no money and no food. Lady Susan hugged her little boy in a loving and gentle way. She held his face in her hands and looked deep into his eyes. "There is nothing you cannot tell me," she said. "Nothing at all. I have always told you, Alfred, some secrets should never, ever be kept." Poor little Sir Alfred was so confused. He didn't know whether to tell his mother or not. What if she didn't believe him? What if she lost her job and he was to blame? Finally, after many tears and lots of warm hugs from his mother, little Sir Alfred decided to be brave. He decided to tell the terrible secret. Once he began, his words tumbled out one on top of the other. He told his mother all about the tickling and the touching and how uncomfortable and sick it made him feel. He told her that Lord Henry said he must keep the secret, and that if he told anyone, Lady Susan would lose her job and they would have no money, and it would be all his fault. Lady Susan hugged her son very tightly and rocked him gently back and forth. At last she wiped away both their tears. "You are the bravest little knight I have ever known," she said, "and what Lord Henry did to you was very wrong. You were right to tell me, and I am very proud of you. Remember, there is nothing you cannot tell me. I am always here to listen to you, and I will always believe you. You have done nothing wrong." Lady Susan promised Alfred that he would never ever have to see Lord Henry again, and that he would be gone from their lives forever. As punishment, Lord Henry would be banished from his castle and the kingdom. She also told Alfred that she could earn a very fine living by knitting sweaters for the rich and famous and selling them at the local market. Later that night, as little Sir Alfred lay snug and warm in his bed, he finally felt safe and very loved. He was proud of himself because he had found the courage to tell his mother. He knew now for sure that no matter how awful or scary the secret, it should never, ever be kept. The end. there are some questions in the back, and I will post some of them here for you to ask your children or your class or whoever you are reading this book to. So when Lord Henry started to tickle Alfred in a way that he did not like, was Alfred right to tell him to stop? When Lord Henry did not stop, what should Alfred have done? Why didn't Alfred tell his mother about the touching and tickling straight away? How might Alfred have been feeling? Should Alfred have told his mother right away? Should anyone tickle or touch your private parts? If they do, what should you do right away? What if the person says it is our special secret? Should you keep that kind of secret? Sometimes there are good secrets, such as not telling your mother about a surprise birthday party, or telling your grandpa about a present you have bought him. But sometimes there are bad secrets, such as someone touching your private parts. A secret such as this should never be kept. If someone tells you to keep a bad secret, what should you do? Who could you tell? You could tell someone you really trust, such as your mother, your father, your teacher, or your big brother or sister. Remember, some secrets should never be kept. Have you got any questions about this story that you would like to ask? And there we go. This is the book of Sir Alfred and His Very Big Secret. And this was written by Jayneen Sanders and illustrated by Craig Smith. And some parental guidance is recommended, as you could probably tell when reading this book. This is not one you want them reading on their own. This is definitely one that you want to read with them. So if you have any questions for me, leave those in the comments, and I will get to those. I will get to those right away. Have a wonderful day.